Imagine a world without rice, wheat, or corn. Our supermarkets would look starkly different, our diets would be drastically altered, and the course of our history would have taken another path. Staple crops are not just plants that our meals are built around, they are the very pillars upon which civilizations have risen and thrived. The history of these crops is as much a narrative about agriculture as it is a tale of human survival, innovation, and cultural identity. From the lush valleys of the Yangtze to the vast cornfields of the American Midwest, these crops have dictated economic policies, stirred revolutions, and influenced the daily lives of billions. This essay delves deep into how staple crops have sculpted human history, transformed landscapes, and continue to play a pivotal role in global food security. Agriculture did not just happen, it was a revolution as profound as the industrial one. It began when our ancestors first domesticated wild plants such as wheat in the Fertile Crescent and rice in China. This fundamental shift from foraging to farming enabled permanent settlements and the accumulation of surplus food, which was a cornerstone in the development of civilizations. The domestication process was selective and deliberate, favoring plants that were easily grown and harvested. It wasn't merely a change in the landscape, it was a transformation in human society, setting the stage for social hierarchies, economic systems, and eventually, urban development. Understanding the origins of agriculture helps us appreciate its complex role in historical and modern contexts. It was, and still is, a dynamic interplay of human ingenuity and natural resources. Rice is not just a staple food, it's a way of life in many parts of Asia. Originating from the wild grasses of the Yangtze River Valley, it has become synonymous with Asian civilizations. The labor-intensive paddies that carved out the landscapes of countries like China, India, and Indonesia are a testament to rice's role in shaping economic and cultural identities. In regions where rice is prevalent, it has sparked unique culinary traditions and social practices. The Green Revolution of the mid-20th century, with its high-yield varieties, significantly boosted rice production, which helped to alleviate famine in many Asian countries. Today, technological advancements continue to refine rice cultivation, balancing between maintaining traditional methods and embracing modern techniques to meet global demands. Corn, or maize, was first domesticated by indigenous peoples in Mexico over 7,000 years ago. Its versatility and adaptability allowed it to become a cornerstone of indigenous American agriculture, culture, and diet. The crop was so integral that it featured prominently in folklore and religious ceremonies. The arrival of Europeans introduced corn to the rest of the world, where it quickly became a vital crop due to its ability to grow in diverse climates. Today, corn is not only a food staple but a major component in animal feed and biofuel production, highlighting its multifaceted importance in the global agricultural landscape. The story of corn illustrates a broader narrative of how indigenous knowledge and practices can have a profound global impact, shaping agricultural trends and food security worldwide. Wheat has been dubbed the staff of life for its indispensable role in human civilization. Its origins can be traced back to the Tigris and Euphrates river valleys, where it was one of the first crops to be domesticated. This grain supported the growth of city-states in the ancient Middle East, underpinning societies that would eventually give rise to the world's first empires. The cultivation of wheat facilitated the spread of people and ideas across continents, particularly in Europe, where it became a staple. However, modern wheat farming faces significant challenges, including climate change, soil degradation, and the need for sustainable practices. Efforts to improve wheat production through genetic modification and advanced breeding techniques are crucial as the global population continues to grow, demanding more from this ancient crop. While not as globally famous as rice or wheat, sorghum and millets play a critical role in food security, especially in arid and semi-arid regions of Africa and Asia. These grains are prized for their drought tolerance and nutritional profile, offering essential nutrients in areas susceptible to food scarcity. Sorghum and millets are versatile, used in everything from bread and beverages to fodder and biofuel. Their cultivation supports biodiversity, and can be integral to sustainable agricultural practices because of their minimal requirements for water and fertilizers. In a world where agricultural diversity is increasingly important for food security, these lesser-known crops offer a beacon of hope and resilience. Roots and tubers such as potatoes, cassava, and yams are the unsung heroes of agricultural history. Potatoes, originally from the Andean mountains, were introduced to Europe in the 16th century, where they rapidly became a staple, especially among the poor. The infamous Irish potato famine in the 19th century highlighted the crop's economic and social importance. Cassava and yams, staples in tropical regions, are celebrated for their adaptability to poor soil conditions and their substantial caloric contribution. These crops are particularly important in the diets of millions in the developing world, providing a critical food source during periods of environmental and economic instability. The adaptability and resilience of these tuber crops underscore their potential in addressing food security and sustainability challenges in the face of climate change. Agricultural practices have evolved dramatically from ancient methods of slash and burn to the sophisticated, technology-driven approaches of today. Traditional practices were closely tied to the rhythms of nature, whereas modern agriculture often seeks to optimize efficiency and productivity with machinery, biotechnology, and intensive farming techniques. This evolution has brought significant improvements in crop yields and food availability, but has also led to challenges such as soil degradation, water scarcity, and biodiversity loss. The integration of sustainable practices such as crop rotation, organic farming, and permaculture is increasingly important as we seek to balance productivity with environmental health. The history of agricultural practices is a testament to human ingenuity and adaptability, reflecting our ongoing relationship with the land we cultivate. Staple crops are pivotal in ensuring global food security. They provide the bulk of nutrients needed by populations around the world and are often more accessible and affordable than other food sources. However, access to these vital crops is not uniform, with many communities, particularly in developing countries, facing challenges related to availability and affordability. Efforts to enhance food security often focus on increasing staple crop yields through advances in agricultural technology, improving distribution systems to reduce loss and waste, and making farming more resilient to climate change and other environmental pressures. Looking ahead, the role of staple crops in sustaining a growing global population will only become more critical, necessitating continued innovation and cooperation across nations and disciplines. Staple crops are deeply woven into the fabric of societies around the world. They shape diets, influence traditional cooking methods, and are celebrated in cultural festivals and rituals. For example, rice is central to the Japanese tea ceremony and the Indian festival of Pongal, while maize is integral to Native American heritage and is celebrated in numerous indigenous festivals across the Americas. These crops are not just sustenance, they are a repository of history and culture, holding stories of migration, trade, and adaptation. Understanding the cultural dimensions of staple crops can provide valuable insights into the social dynamics and values of different communities. By appreciating these cultural narratives, we can foster a deeper respect for the foods we often take for granted, recognizing them as vital links in our shared human heritage. The cultivation and trade of staple crops have been economic foundations for societies throughout history. The spice trade, sugar, and cotton are just a few examples of how agricultural products can drive economies and influence global power dynamics. Today, staple crops like soybeans, wheat, and rice are traded on the global market, affecting international relations and economies. Countries often depend heavily on these crops for their economic stability, which can make them vulnerable to fluctuations in global market prices, trade policies, and climatic conditions. The economic impact extends beyond the fields, influencing employment, commodity prices, and even national security. The interconnection of global markets means that the impact of a drought or surplus in one part of the world can ripple through to affect food prices and economic conditions worldwide. Genetic modification, or GM, of crops has been a contentious issue. balancing between boosting food production and addressing ethical and health concerns. GM techniques have led to the creation of crop varieties with enhanced resistance to pests, diseases, and environmental stresses, contributing to increased stability in food supplies. Critics argue that GM crops can lead to biodiversity loss and might have unforeseen health effects. However, proponents point to the potential for GM crops to improve nutritional content and reduce the use of chemical pesticides, which can be beneficial for both health and the environment. The debate over genetic modification is a reflection of wider issues regarding how we manage and interact with our natural resources, highlighting the need for careful consideration of both scientific innovation and traditional knowledge. Climate change poses a significant threat to global agriculture, affecting staple crop yields through altered weather patterns, increased prevalence of pests and diseases, and extreme weather events. Adapting crops to changing climatic conditions is therefore crucial for food security. Strategies for adaptation include developing crop varieties that can withstand extremes of heat, drought, and flooding, improving agricultural practices to enhance soil health and water efficiency, and employing technologies like precision agriculture to optimize resource use. The resilience of our agricultural systems depends on our ability to anticipate, respond to, and manage the effects of climate change, ensuring that our staple crops can continue to sustain humanity in the face of environmental challenges. The future of agriculture holds promises of revolutionary changes with the incorporation of technologies such as robotics, AI, and vertical farming. These innovations have the potential to transform how we grow our food, making agriculture more sustainable, efficient, and adaptable to urban environments. Vertical farming, for instance, uses significantly less water and land than traditional farming and can be used to grow crops close to urban consumers, reducing transportation costs and carbon footprint. AI and robotics can optimize resource use and improve crop monitoring and management, potentially increasing yields and reducing labor costs. As we look towards these innovations, it is crucial to balance technological advancements with considerations of sustainability and social equity to ensure that the benefits of these developments are widely distributed. Staple crops have been, and will continue to be, fundamental to human survival and cultural identity. They are more than mere commodities. They are the lifeblood of societies, shaping economies, diets, and traditions. As we face the future, the challenges of feeding a growing population, adapting to climate change, and ensuring sustainable agricultural practices are immense. Our ongoing bond with these vital crops must be characterized by innovation, respect for traditional knowledge, and a commitment to environmental stewardship. By understanding the past and present roles of staple crops, we can better navigate the complexities of the future, ensuring that these seeds of civilization continue to flourish and sustain generations to come.